Welcome, Gunrunner.
Hello everybody, Q&A the Laird here, and I've got a book review for you, and one that I've been waiting to do for a very long time, because this book has actually been out a little while over in America, where it originates from, but it took ages to come out over here, and it was delayed a couple of times and back and forth with the publisher trying to find out what was going on. Then we thought it got lost in the post, and then it suddenly turned up. So yeah, I got it. I got it eventually. It came in the end. And those of you who follow me will already know about this one. It won't be a surprise, because obviously this is the NES Omnibus Volume 2 M to Z by Brett Weiss, and I've already covered obviously NES Omnibus Volume 1, which I'll link down in the description for you if you want to go and check that out. And that was a book that I contributed to quite a bit, and this follow-up one is a book that I've contributed to quite a bit. In fact, I think I've got more contributions in this one than I did in the first one. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. In fact, looking through it when I first got it, I was actually surprised how much I did have in it. So yeah, so Brett Weiss had already done a SNES Omnibus, which I've covered on the channel as well. I'd done some contributions for that. His publisher asked him to do an NES one, and when it came to that, he asked me again if I'd like to get involved and write some contributions for it. So there we go. I have, and I had a list and got to pick which ones I wanted to do, and then came back and he gave us some more options to add more, because it was originally going to be one book, same as the SNES one, and they split it into two. Wise choice, because the library is so big. So it gave us the opportunity to write even more contributions. So I'd forgotten, I think that's one reason why I'd forgotten just how many I'd written, because of the fact the book had been split up like that, and we'd sort of written the contributions in several phases through that, as he wanted to add more and more to the book. So we'll have a look through. I'm not going to look at the whole book, because this book is bloody enormous, as you will actually see right here when I do that. It's a hardback, it's huge, as you can see. And if it's got a UK price on it, it's got $49.99, so $50. So it's probably a similar price over here, to be honest. It's probably around the 50 quid mark, but I'll link it down in the description for those who might want to buy it anyway. So there we go. There's a bit about the author with his wife and kids. We've got our contents, and we've got our preface by Robert McCallum. Acknowledgements, there's a list of all the people who've contributed to the book, including me. I'm up here somewhere. There we are. I'm there. And then it goes into the games. So it's the same format as the other books in the way that it's basically got a description of the game with box art and screenshots. Notable quotables, which is basically what magazines thought of it back in the day. There's also, as well in these, actually, there's also quotes from websites. There's also some modern ones as well, but mainly quotes from what people thought back in the day. And then you have these insider insights on the pages as well. Not every game has these, and this is basically what I did. My contributions were insider insights. There's all sorts of different people he's got who have provided insider insights, from YouTubers to actual games developers, like their Kale Menges, artist and game developer. He's got some pretty famous YouTubers on board as well. Various journalists as well writing for these columns. Some of the games, obviously the more well-known games, have got perhaps more than one. So for example, straight away we've got Mad Max there. As you can see, it's almost got a whole page worth there of different notable quotables from people. But there's some games that haven't got them at all. So there we go, Magic Darts and Fast Break. No one had any good memories of them to add, obviously. So there is none there for those. But yeah, it doesn't take too long to find the first one of mine, so we'll just get to that bit. I can skip forward a bit actually, probably. So if I put a bookmark in, 'cause Schiffer will send me a nice, Schiffer Publishing, who are the publishers, are so really good. They all send me a nice bookmark, and they've also sent me a really nice catalogue as well with this. So thank you to Schiffer Publishing for the book. So I should mention, yeah, again, I didn't pay for it, but obviously that was because I got a free book because I contributed to the writing of it. So there we go. There's my first insider insight, which is for Micro Machines. There, absolute classic top-down racer for the NES. So we'll skip ahead a little bit now. We'll go through. As I say, I've got quite a few in here. And there's actually some games that I could have sworn that I wrote notable quotables for, but apparently didn't. And there was a couple of games at least that I noticed where I forgot I'd written notable quotables for them. So there we go. It could be that I did actually write more than are in here, and they may well have cut a few due to space, because I know in the first one there was a couple of mine that were cut out due to space. There's another one of mine actually, Pinbot, there. So yes, there is a few that I got confused about when looking through it, because I was just looking at the page thinking, oh, that's one of mine. And no, hang on. I thought I wrote some for these Quattro Sports games, them being Codemasters and having played all the original games on the Spectrum. So I thought I might have written something about that, but perhaps not. Road Racer, it's got a big section there. It's Rampage. I thought I'd have written something for Rampage. Someone obviously probably got in before me on that Rambo. So let's see, it's all big, full colour, glossy pages, really, really good quality. Really well written as well, with all the different opinions from different people, which is really nice to have in here. Side Pocket, that's another one I wrote actually. This Skull and Crossbones, that was another I thought I wrote, but I actually hadn't. Spy vs Spy. So I mean, I should mention, it's every game. These compendiums cover every single NES game that was released in North America. So there's no PAL exclusives or Japanese exclusives or anything like that. It is literally every single game that was released in North America, whether it be official or not, because there is some of the stuff that, like Color Dreams games, for example, that weren't official. There's another one, Sunday Funday, which is a Wisdom Tree. Another, well, Color Dreams became Wisdom Trees. That's a perfect example there. Also covering the unofficial ones. So obviously the Mario games, as you can probably expect, get more coverage than anything else. So you can see here, absolutely huge sections on Super Mario, Mario 2, and Mario 3, with loads and loads and loads of quotes from people as well. Turtles, another one that gets lots of space, the Turtles games. Tennis, that was another one I wrote for. I wrote a contribution for actually. I'd actually forgotten that I'd written one for tennis. That's what I wanted to say. I couldn't remember that I'd written that, but I really did like the original tennis game on the NES. Because although I didn't grow up with an NES myself, my direct next door neighbour, the house that actually joined mine, I lived in a semi-detached house, had an NES. I used to literally just jump over our back fence and go around. We used to just literally walk around each other's houses all the time. It's kind of normal. We were that close, so we were always around each other's houses playing games, literally every single day. In fact, so although I didn't have an NES, he did, and it was almost like the same thing in a way, because I got to play on it every single day. So I have awful lot of nostalgia actually for certain NES games. Because of that. There's another one I wrote actually, Tubin. I have got an NES in the present day. I've got one in my garage somewhere in a box, but I can't remember where, because my garage is an absolute mess at the moment because there's so much stuff in it. It really does need a good sorting out. I usually do that in the summer, so I'm sure usually in the summer holidays when my wife's off work, so we usually clear the garage out. sort it out, and then it ends up like that again. I blame my wife because she's keen gardener and she's got a thing about hoarding flower pots. So they kind of tend to take over and breed all the WWF games. Absolutely bloody loads of them. Xenophobe, was that another one I wrote? Yes, it was. I thought it was. I thought I wrote Xenophobe. Quite a detailed one, actually. I think that's the longest one I wrote in the book. Into quite a bit of detail. Xenophobe is quite a special game to me. Not mainly the NES version, actually the Lynx version more than anything. Although the first version I played was on the Spectrum, I had it for the Spectrum first, but I have so much love for the Lynx one because it was my first Lynx game. It was the game that I got with my Lynx, so therefore I played it endlessly, really, because I think it was 2 months before I got another game. So there we go. So there's some stuff at the back. So that's everything I needed to know. I learned from the NES by Shane Steen. Sports Games of the NES by Patrick Hickey Jr., who's another author. Appendix 1. So I said about the PAL exclusive games. They did do a little section there at the back with just a little description of each one. So you got some really strange stuff there, like Aussie Rules Football, which only came out in Australia. Drop Zone, the Archer McLean classic. Konami Hyper Soccer. That seems strange. That only came out in PAL. How strange. Appendix 2, HES exclusive NES games. That is the Australian distributor for the NES. They released their own stuff over there, like they did for the 2600 as well, actually. Miscellaneous NES games not listed anywhere in this book. So there's some strange stuff there. Special thanks to the people who backed the book on Kickstarter. It was being published anyway, but he ran a Kickstarter campaign as well to kind of get extra funding. I just noticed my book's damaged on the back there. There's a long scratch on it. Oh, that's a bit annoying. I didn't notice that because it's got a lovely slipcover. I'll show you what's underneath as well, actually, because it's exactly the same, just in case you wondered. I don't know if you can actually see that there, but the cover is embossed. You can see it clearer on the back. But yeah, very, very, very nice book indeed. And as I said, really, when I looked at the first NES book, you know, if you're into the NES and the Famicom, then this is the book for you. I mean, there's an awful lot of different NES books out there. Obviously, that's not really a surprise when you consider that the NES was the market leading console in North America and in Japan as the Famicom. So, you know, just about every man and his dog really has done an NES book, and there's also a few NES books as well that come from a more European perspective, like Bitmap Books have done one. That's the first one that springs to mind. I'm sure there are others, but yeah, it's certainly a system that's probably been covered more than any other out there over the years in terms of books. But for me, and I own some of the others, I've got a Nintendo Power book, for example, and I've got the Bitmap one in my collection, my vast book collection. I do think that Brett Weiss's ones are the best. They are from a slightly American perspective, I suppose, but they're really balanced because he's got all those insider insights. So he's got people from the UK like me in there, and also in the notable quotables that I showed you. That's funny because I've gone straight to that page, and the first example there is a quote from Mean Machines magazine, which was an English UK magazine. So there is notable quotables there from both sides of the pond, not just America, which is cool as well. So it's not a completely biased book, which you do get actually with a lot of the American books. They're kind of America and that's it, and the rest of the world doesn't exist. But this book isn't like that at all. And yeah, so if you love Nintendo, then I can't recommend these two compendiums more. And there's probably a special deal if you buy both. There was before with the SNES one, so I'm not sure, I haven't checked that out, but they do tend to do stuff like that on Amazon. When there's a series, they've done it with some of my books as well. So there we go, that's it. I hope you enjoyed my look at the NES Omnibus Volume 2, M to Z, by Brett Weiss. An absolutely fantastic big hardback book that's well worth buying. As always, I thank you for watching, and I'll see you all again for another video very soon. Bye bye.